What is up, everybody? We got a lot to talk about today, including going into the playoffs in the NFL, and COVID has hit hard again. Let's get right into it. What is going on, spectators? Today, I'm here with my brother Brooklyn. As always, what's going on, brother?
Yo, what's going on, everybody? What's going on, Jew? Just want to start it out. Wish everybody a Merry
Yes, sir.
Christmas. That's right around the corner. You ain't going to hear from us until after, but we ready. We ready for it. And I am in a very good mood because last weekend we got to go see Spider
Yes,
Man.
sir.
That was amazing. Been waiting a year for that. So I'm hyped, man. I'm hyped to get into this. We got some winners and losers for
Yes, sir.
everybody. But how you doing?
I'm doing great, bro. And again, I'll reiterate what you said. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays for everybody who celebrates any of those. Hope you guys have been able to spend some time with your family and just enjoy the not colder weather in Florida, but maybe
Mm,
somewhere else if you're somewhere else. So yeah,
I hope you're enjoying
I
it.
yeah right because we're not. I'm actually today though, so maybe it's a little colder outside. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, let's just get right into winners and losers. We had I think it was NFL Week 15 that we just kind of went through, and there's some pushback. We still have a couple of games we actually gotta wait for because COVID protocol stuff pushed these games back. So the Raiders Browns game got pushed back, and the Rams was it Rams Seahawks got pushed back to Tuesday. Also Washington Philly. So there's like several games that got pushed back, and we obviously got to wait for those to finish to paint the bigger picture here. But we have a good idea of kind of how this week has looked already. You got a winner
Yeah,
for me?
I do. And I'm gonna start out with the Miami Dolphins. Are my
Mm,
first winner of the week.
not just
And
this week.
really,
Yeah, not just this week.
really the whole season. They started out looking miserable.
Yeah,
1-7.
bad.
Out just don't even look at them. They're ugly. Ignore them. Don't keep it away.
Keep it away.
Far away. But here we are, and they go on a 6 game winning
Yeah.
streak. 6 game winning streak, and now they're looking like if things go right, they're right up there in the AFC East, fighting with Buffalo and New England for a top spot.
Oh, you're talking division.
No, I'm just saying, shout out to them. I'm
Okay,
just
okay, okay.
they're in a position.
They are in
That
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 position.
that's I'm
They
just putting it
they
there.
are in a position.
What they do with that position, that's up to them.
Yeah, and I mean,
But
this might be the least impressive 6 game win streak in NFL history. Uh, you're playing the Texans, the Jets twice, the Panthers, and the Giants. Uh, None of which have been particularly good this year. But you did get a good win against the Ravens and
Mhm.
held them to only 10 points. So the defense has certainly stepped up like tremendously the last part of the year. And yeah, I mean they're in a good little spot. Tua's back. Clearly, they're a better team with Tua than they are with Jacoby Brissett. Who would have thought? I think literally anybody with a brain. And I don't know,
Yeah.
they look more like the team I expected. I expected the Dolphins to kind of be a 7-7 team around this time. I thought their schedule was kind of loaded at one end, but they had a couple of tough games, and then they had a lot of freebies, and they've kind of taken advantage of those freebies at this point. So,
Yeah, that's what you got to do.
and when you get a big win over the Patriots to start the year, which didn't seem like a big win at the time, but kind of is now. You get the Patriots the last week of the season. Weird scheduling, by the way, having them week 1 and then week 19, kind of weird, but. Dolphins look cool. I'll take them as a winner.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can turn it around like that,
Yeah.
shout
Nope.
out.
It's
Like you
literally a
you lose 7, you win 6. Shout out.
pretty cool
Good
stuff,
good job.
right?
Whatever you're doing, keep on doing it because you're going places.
Maybe
Yeah,
not a
if that's
Super Bowl, but
Cancun,
places.
if that's Cancun, it's Cancun, but you're going
You're
somewhere.
going somewhere for sure. I like that. I like that. Winner for me.
Talk to me.
Winner for me, and this is a pretty big one that I've been on all year since like they're kind of like the Dolphins light. The Colts, Indianapolis Colts, they get the win over maybe the hottest team in football outside of the Chiefs with the Patriots. They pretty much shut them down offensively all game. It was like the first game in a while Mac Jones has been like legitimately uncomfortable. They win this game by 2 scores, and Carson Wentz didn't even have that good of a game. In fact, he had a bad game. he threw a couple of picks, and Jonathan Taylor had a pretty solid game. Obviously, that 67-yard run really like makes it look a lot better than it was, but that was the dagger. And the Patriots scored all their points in the fourth quarter, so they had 3 quarters of just we couldn't do anything. And I don't know. The Colts seem like they are actually somewhat of a contender, especially when coming into this week, people thought it was the Patriots and Chiefs to lose. And now you have the Colts kind of throwing their hat in the ring.
Cool. So I'm going to kind of piggyback off this. Okay. It's a pseudo winner, but it's my loser, and my loser is me. Because all this season, I haven't been too convinced on the Colts.
No, every time they have a big win, you're like, I don't know.
Because all their wins have just come from teams that they should beat. They beat the Dolphins, Texans, Niners, Jets, Jags. Bills was nice. Texans. The Patriots I liked. That was a good win. So, just all year, it was kind of just, okay, I see them. They're a good team. They're beating the teams that they should. Nice.
Yeah.
They lost to the Rams. They lost to the Titans.
Those were early.
They lost to the
they
Titans
were figuring
again.
it out. Carson just got
there. They lost to the Bucs. I understand that. But that was just how I was feeling. But on camera, I'm the loser.
I'm the loser. Yes, sir. I mean, hey, man, it's about the way you win, and when you have a pretty good rushing game. We've seen teams with great rushing games go to Super Bowls before with quarterbacks worse than Carson Wentz. So, you know, it's one of those kind of deals. So, I'm not saying they're going.
Well, shout out to the Colts.
I do think they're a winner this week.
Shout out to.
I got a loser for you.
Okay.
The Denver Broncos. And for a couple of reasons, right? Obviously, Teddy goes down. We're hoping he's okay.
Yeah.
Seeing Teddy down is like the saddest thing to me in football because like nobody deserves to play more than him. He's just such a good guy, and injuries kind of follow him all the way around in any given way. So hopefully he's okay. But this was a really, really important game, and this game pretty much knocks them out of the playoffs. I know they're only a game back of the Bengals now, but now they lose the head-to-head. They lost the head-to-head to the Ravens this year. They have a couple of head-to-heads that they haven't won, and they have a really tough schedule the rest of the way. This was a big game that would have given them that little bit of a cushion, and they didn't take it. And again, part of it's because an injury, and that happens, you know.
It sucks.
So, Broncos losing at home in a really ugly game. Like this was not a good game. Joe Burrow wasn't super sharp. Nobody played particularly well. Tyler Boyd got back in the mix. I swear he's been like quiet for like a while. So good to see the wide receivers over there get spread out a little bit. But
absolutely,
yeah, that's my loser.
Okay, piggybacking on injuries, I'm going with the Bucs for one of my losers.
Oof, yeah.
Tom Brady, first time in 15 years, gets shut out. I think it was 255 consecutive starts without getting shut out. Mike Evans goes down. Chris Godwin goes down. Lenny goes down.
And that's on the offense. Their defense has been decimated all year.
All year, bro. But now Evans and Lenny, they'll be back hobbled. Hopefully they get it together. But Godwin, Antonio Brown's coming back. So that's their knight in shining armor with Godwin disappearing for the rest of the regular season. Is he able to at all to come back in the playoffs? I haven't heard anything yet. I know
I
he's
haven't
out.
seen anything, to be honest with you. I
Okay.
haven't seen anything.
As of right now, he's probably out for the majority. Well, not majority. The rest of the regular season. So that's a tough blow.
Yeah.
That's a really tough blow. And with two, I'm the last game against the Bills. You have to look at just because they let them come all the way back. You get the overtime win. Cool. You ride off into the sunset, but something to be noted and to just watch out for. And then they let the Saints come in and shut them out.
Yeah.
That's not good,
It's not.
especially this late.
Well, and especially just Tom Brady's had some trouble beating the Saints as a Buck, so
Yeah.
that's something that's super concerning, obviously, because if you lose to the Saints 3 out of 4 times and still end up with 6 regular season losses, I think you're okay. You know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But this isn't really like a regular season worry thing right now for them being the
No,
loser.
it's the
But come
injuries.
playoff
Yeah,
time,
it's the injuries for
yeah,
sure.
come playoff time, I don't
It's
know.
the same thing we've had wrong with the Bucks all year, though. It's not a lack of talent. We're just scared that their depth is running out because it is.
Yeah.
So I can get behind
Absolutely.
that. I got another winner for you, and you
Okay.
know this is off the back of the moral winners. The Green Bay
You
Packers
got-
won this game, but Tyler Huntley looked pretty solid. And I
Yeah.
kind of said it coming into the game. I said, I think this is going to be a better game than people think. I know you picked the Packers and the pick 'em, and I didn't even love the pick. And you're like, well, they don't have Lamar. And I'm like, I'm telling you, for the little bit I just saw of Tyler Huntley last week, he actually looked solid, and the passing game was better than it's been all year.
Mhm.
Coming to this game, Tyler Huntley throws for 200 yards. He looked pretty good. He didn't throw a pick. He had 2 touchdowns. Wasn't the most efficient, and obviously that kind of came back to bite him. But really what came back to bite him is this is the second game this season that Jim Harbaugh went for 2 instead of going for 1 that tied a game, put it into OT. He goes for 2 to try and win it. They run the exact same play that they ran against the Steelers. The exact same play. It didn't work again. And here we are now. The Ravens are 8-6 instead of potentially 10-4. And they might not make the playoffs now because this was a pretty big loss. Like, now Cincinnati's tied with them. They could have taken that one extra step. And when you're getting close in weeks like this, you need to try and get these wins against these teams that maybe you shouldn't, or like you put yourself in a position to win. And they didn't do it. But Tyler Huntley is my winner, though, because he looked pretty solid. And he was Lamar light. I mean, he had 70 rushing yards, like two touchdown runs. Like he was pretty good. He was explosive. It was kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, he did look good. All right, so we'll finish this off with what you want? You want a winner or a loser?
Whichever you feel more passionate about.
Well, I'll go with the loser then because I'm mad at them. I'm mad at them because
the Cardinals, yes.
They were so close to making me either go undefeated or go 0-3 yesterday on the Pick'ems. Arizona Cardinals. Tough. They lose to the Detroit Lions. And when you lose to the Detroit Lions, you will be a spectator loser.
That's true. It happens.
So simple as that.
Not only did they lose, they got killed.
They got
their wings clipped. Like, this was not the Vikings.
It was
game.
bad.
It was kind of close, and like it was a game to the end. No, they were dominated from start to finish. This was kind of crazy. I was telling you while I was watching it. Jared Goff, Arizona Cardinal, known Arizona Cardinal killer, just known. He's had a weirdly good career against the Cardinals, which, hey man.
Yeah. So Arizona.
Hold that. Hold that. But yeah, that's a very good loser. And do you know who's not a loser? Our boy Gerard. He's gonna let you know who did well in fantasy this week. You're probably in the playoffs or at home on your couch watching the playoffs. And if you're either of those, you're gonna want to know who popped off this week. Gerard, talk to him.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Babyface G, and we're back again for another segment of Fantasy Corner. We're in week 15, and we're going to go ahead and talk to you about some stuff that's happened and give you the top performers for this week. Granted, we still got 4 games left, so these numbers could change, but for right now, I'm going to give you what we have, and I'm going to give you some starts, and I'm going to give you some sits for week 16, second or third round of the playoffs, just depending on however you guys do it. But hey, let's go ahead and get to it. Quarterback 1 is Tyler Huntley, 288 total yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns for a total of 36 fantasy points. He stepped up big without Lamar Jackson there against the Packers, and he looked. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. I think he looked better this week than Lamar has looked in the past couple of weeks. So something to keep note of. Lamar is obviously the better player, but hey, he stepped up, and that's something Lamar hasn't been able to do the past couple of weeks. Duke Johnson is your running back 1 this week. That's a name I haven't heard of in years. He's on the Dolphins, just in case you didn't know, because I didn't know until I saw these stats. 127 total yards, 2 touchdowns for 26 fantasy points. It's good to see vet players balling out, but it's the playoffs, so it's people who you need to ball out aren't balling out, and the people who you don't really care if they ball out are balling out. So it's very weird. But hey, the Dolphins are hot right now. Maybe he keeps it going. Pick him up? Probably not. But hey, you never know. If you need him, you need him. Tyreek Hill is your wide receiver 1. This is probably one of the best games he's had all year, and that's saying a lot because he's used to having these games all the time, but not this year, I guess, because the Chiefs' offense hasn't really been clicking. But anyways, 12 receptions, 148 yards, a touchdown for 33 fantasy points. Tyreek Hill balled out, and so did his number 1 partner over there, Travis Kelce. 10 receptions, 191 yards, 2 touchdowns for 41 fantasy points. Their offense is a little inconsistent this year, but hey, they both balled out in a shootout against the Chargers. It was a great game. Sucks if you didn't watch it. I couldn't watch it because I was watching Spider-Man, but I had more important things to do, clearly. So without further ado, I'm gonna give you guys some starts. I'm gonna give you guys some sits to look for week 16. In the starts column, I'm starting Jalen Hurts against the Giants because Jalen Hurts has a consistent 20 points per game around there, and I think he had 1 game below double digits, which for a lot of quarterbacks this year, that's huge because there's a lot of quarterbacks who've been underperforming, and it's the playoffs, so you need someone who's consistent. I think Jalen Hurts goes off against the Giants. Ronald Jones is playing the Panthers this week. I'm starting him because Leonard Fournette is hurt, so you're probably gonna have to go pick him up. But if you pick him up and you get him, I'm starting him because there's not many people that have had a starting role before and they just got delegated to the backup because their backup started outperforming them. But Ronald Jones is still capable of leading an offense behind the line. You know what I'm saying? Devontae Smith, I'm starting him as well. I like him and Jalen Hurts to both torch the Giants, and they're trying to make a playoff run. So they're going to torch the Giants, and I think they're both going for 20 points. Week 16, you heard it here first. That's who I'm rocking with, at least. Dawson Knox is playing against New England. I like Dawson Knox as a tight end. I think he's really good. I think this is his come out year for him. He played New England 2 weeks ago. Didn't really perform that much. The conditions were terrible, and he dropped 2 touchdown passes. I think Dawson Knox is good enough to make you guys go to the next round of these fantasy playoffs. Some sits I have for week 16 is Dak Prescott. I'm not starting Dak because Dak hasn't really shown me much. He had a good start, but after that, he's kind of fizzled out, and he's been relying on his defense. His defense have been carrying him so far this season. I think, in my opinion, their defense is really good. Don't get me wrong, and their offense can be very good. But for fantasy aspects, I'm not seeing it from Dak, and I'm not starting Dak because it's the playoffs. You need consistent. You need a solid, at least, I would say, 20 points from your quarterback if you're trying to make it to the next round. Zeke, I don't know what happened to Zeke. I think he's gotten worse every year in the league, and he had a great start in the beginning of the year. Okay, maybe Zeke's back, but now he's just back to his normal stuff. His knee injury is probably bothering him. Yeah, I understand that, but this is fantasy, and you can't make excuses for injuries. He's a touchdown or bust. Yeah, he had a decent game this week with a touchdown, but other than that, I think Tony Pollard is going to start coming up fast, and I think they're going to start kind of pulling the ropes back on Zeke to get him ready for the playoffs, and they might run Tony Pollard a little bit more. I'm sitting Hollywood Brown against the Bengals. Marquise Brown, he's a good wide receiver, yeah. I don't think he's a number one wide receiver. I never thought he was, and Lamar Jackson hasn't looked all that great this year. And everything, and when he has looked great, it seems like a lot of it's gone to Mark Andrews. So I think it's the Mark Andrews and Lamar show. So I'm not really feeling Hollywood Brown for Week 16 either. And Mike Gesicki from the Miami Dolphins, they're playing New Orleans, and Malcolm Jenkins is one of the best safeties in the league. People don't know, but he was brought into the league as a corner, and then he transferred over into the safety position. So whenever you put the safety on tight ends, as you saw, like he put on Gronk, he's very physical. He can hang with Gronk. If he can hang with Gronk, he can hang with Gesicki. I promise you. But I think that New Orleans defense has something to prove. I think the Dolphins are hot. It should be a really good game. I'm actually excited to watch that game. But I'm going to give the advantage to the New Orleans defense over Mike Gesicki this week. Hey, that's it for Week 16 and Week 15 coverage. I'm going to make sure you guys are in the playoffs. If you have any questions, you guys know where to hit me up. And I can't wait for y'all to tell me about your success in fantasy football this year, because I helped. But you know how it is. I'll catch you guys next week.
Thank you, Gerard, as always, for the insight. And make sure you listen to the man for your start and sit. Try and get those W's in your leagues. This has been a really, really strange year because starters haven't played like it, and random dudes like Duke Johnson are out here balling and leading the fantasy landscape as running backs. So weird stuff, but love to see it, love to hear it. Thank you, Gerard. Also, if you guys haven't heard, in case you missed it, our boy Gerard had a vlog that came out earlier this weekend. He went to the Bucks-Bills game in Tampa, had a little vlog, had a good time, had his heart broken, and saw some historic passes made by Tom Brady. So go check that out. Not a long one. Go take your I think it's like 5 or 6 minutes, and enjoy the cinema masterpiece that this man created. So go check that out. And we're going to keep it pushing over here because we're really into the thick of this NBA season, bro. And we're 2 years into this pandemic, and it is hitting maybe harder than it ever has in the NBA landscape, outside of obviously pushing back the season and causing the bubble. But this has been rough. We've had several games get pushed back. We've had several teams get just decimated, including the Nets, particularly the Nets.
And the Bulls
have been really bad too. And these teams are just getting decimated by protocols. Like, these guys are either getting COVID or they're obviously contact tracing because they play together. So they're having to send all these guys out. And there was actually a rule that just came out today. The NBA, NBPA just decided on a rule that teams are allowed to sign players as replacement players. In other words, 10-day contracts essentially, but kind of indefinite until they figure out how this is done. Because teams just don't have players to play in games, and they can't keep pushing these games back because, TV rights and all that. There's too many things going into pushing these games back further than we already have. So we're getting players, we're getting replacement players. There was a whole issue a couple years ago that we might have had replacement refs in the NFL and lockouts. We always think oh, are we gonna get replacement players for a lockout? No, but we will for COVID. And you're allowed to sign guys. They just must be able to play at the next available game. That's the one thing that's important here. But you're gonna see a lot of names that you've maybe never heard of, or names that you have heard of. I know you mentioned the other day Mario Chalmers is in the G League for the Lakers. I don't remember what team you said, but you're gonna start seeing names like Mario Chalmers come up, and you're like, oh, they still play basketball?
Yeah, and then it was the, I think, Magic and Net game the other day, and one of the commentators was like, this is the most people that ever came to watch a G League game ever. And the names were just wild. The best player on each team was Patty Mills.
He was the best by a long shot. If you look at the Magic, and the Magic wound up winning this game, which is more impressive. Their best player at any given time was either Gary Harris or Robin Lopez, whoever you consider actually good. I don't know if I consider either, but here we are. And then, like, you're getting 35 minutes over Chris Okuke? I don't even know who that is. And then you look at the Nets in this game. Patty Mills, Blake Griffin, we know them. Who in the world is David Duke Johnson giving us 36 minutes and 18 points? Like, who? I genuinely don't know. And this is not to, like, belittle you. I'm sure
boy
you're
Duke.
A baller, bro, because you're in the NBA. Like, regardless of COVID, you're a baller. But, like, I don't know who you are.
We don't know who they are, and in hindsight, this is really cool for those players because they just get a spot to be the guy.
Well, and like
that they wouldn't get this opportunity anywhere else.
And, you know, what's this other guy, Cam Thomas? Yeah, Cam Thomas. Like, he was also in this game for the Nets, played 36 minutes.
He's our rookie. He's
a rookie. Okay,
he's a baller.
I was gonna say it's kind of like the opposite, not the opposite, but like, you know, he comes into the game, it doesn't particularly play well, but then you have David Duke Johnson comes in and plays pretty well, and he shot pretty efficient, and he had a bunch of boards and a bunch of like offensive boards, and it's like, oh wait, this guy has some value, and you know, despite it being against the maybe B team of the Magic, who are a B team to begin with,
B is generous.
You know, the Orlando Magic own New York this year. So I know 3 of their 6 wins have been against New York teams.
Yeah, I'm not gonna dispute that.
You can't. That's a fact. So there's nothing else to say about that.
And if the Magic have the Nets number almost every year, so
yeah.
live your life, Orlando.
Live your life, Orlando.
It's all you got.
Well, you know, that's like the main game that was like affected by it. Like, if you look at the box score, you're just like, I don't know who these people are, but there's just like depth that's just gone right now in the NBA.
But then it's not only the NBA, it's through the NFL. Protocols have been wild. Like you mentioned in the NFL part of the episode, games are being rescheduled. Yeah. We got games on Tuesday. Sure, we're going to get some on a Wednesday here in the next couple of weeks. NBA games are getting postponed and all that. A couple of NHL teams are actually shutting down their team until I don't know if it was this morning or last night, but cross country travel is just done. Like, you're not doing cross country travel in the NHL now. Yeah, that's the thing. Also, in Canada, some of the stadiums are 50% capacity again. So all across the board, and then even outside of the major sports, soccer and PGA and stuff like that, just the protocols and everything is just starting to ramp back up to what it was last year in the dark days of sports.
Yeah, you know, that's kind of what happens. These new variants are hitting, and they're hitting strong, and pretty much this like Omicron came out, and it was just like, uh-oh. And like 2 weeks later, here we are getting the Woj bombs every day. I saw a really funny tweet, though. I don't know if I shared it with you. I don't think I did. Bobby Portis tweeted the other day. He was like, I'm in protocols, and Wojnarowski didn't tweet about it. I'm sick. Because Bobby Portis was just like, man, I don't got enough clout to be tweeted by Woj. And
Bobby Portis don't got Woj bomb potential.
I thought that was pretty funny. So
that is.
he got put the protocol, wanted the big outlets to talk about it, and he didn't get it.
Yeah, literally every single day, bro, somebody else is in protocols, and it's just like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
what's gonna happen?
It kind of overshadows the news, right? But we had news on Friday. We were literally sitting down about to watch Spider-Man, and I get a news update on my phone during like the trailers before the movie, and it's like Kyrie Irving is now going to play away games, and I was like, huh? Because the Nets are so decimated by COVID. They're like, Kyrie, we need you to play away games. Like, you're going to do it. And he was like, okay. And then literally like 8 hours later, he gets put in the protocols.
Yeah, it's like, you're not going to play because we don't want distractions, but you know what? We need it. We just need it now. We have nobody.
Well, and it's kind of funny, too, because if, you know, Kyrie's going to come back from the protocols at some point. He's going to play. If you're the Nets, are you, like, intentionally tanking to be a 5 seed? because you don't want
Mm,
home court advantage. Why would you want home
no,
court advantage when
no.
you're second or third best player, depending on the day, I guess, and the moon cycle and whatever Kyrie's feeling and his like chi levels. You don't want to beat a home team because if you go to Game 7 and now you're like, man, we don't have Kyrie now, like that's tough. So like, if I'm the Nets, they're the
It
one
is tough.
seed in the East right now. Do you try and start thinking a little bit? I mean, clearly, like it helps when you lose to the Magic because you have no team. So it's like, hey, here's a free loss. But
Yeah,
those are things to think about, right? I don't think they will.
it
I don't
is.
think they are going to. But like, if I'm Steve Nash, I would absolutely try, or at least not be the one seed, so that like every Game 7's at home. Like at least be the 3. You know.
Yeah, it's tough and it's just unprecedented, bro.
It's literally the worst home court advantage ever, and I mean partly because like the Nets fans aren't like the strongest fan base in the world. They're probably like somewhere in the middle, right? Playoffs are
Yeah,
playoffs, so I'm sure they'll turn.
yeah. The
Yeah,
stadium is rocking
I'm sure
during
they'll
that
turn
time.
up for that, but who cares about a home court advantage when you're missing your second best player?
That's the thing because now teams are just gonna game plan strictly off of that. All right, well, they could have these home games, but we
Yeah.
we got 4 home games ourselves that
Yeah,
we're just gonna
there'll
ride it
be a
out. If we
better
get
team in our place, but we're in our place, so we can
yeah,
make fun of
so like
Kyrie all game long, and he's gonna start getting sad at the fans, and all of a sudden, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's like the weirdest advantage, non-advantage thing I've ever seen, and we're gonna kind of see how that plays forward. If he even,
yeah,
I'm still not convinced he's gonna play any games this year because it's been 5-6 days since that announcement, and it still hasn't happened. So we'll see.
eh, yeah, we only time will tell.
Only time will tell.
And the only time is going to tell if we end up having a full season.
Yeah,
Because with everything spiking, who's to say we don't get another sports lockdown? And that's going to be tough. It's going to be
I don't
really
think we
tough.
will. I don't think we will.
Well, it's hard to say. It's really hard to say.
How much harder is it going to be hitting and all that?
That's the thing.
I don't think we necessarily will again, but you know, maybe if it's for the best, then it's going to keep people healthy. Then maybe it's something that needs to happen. We'll kind of see though. We'll keep you guys up to date on kind of what's happening with that. Best place to find out from all that as well is go to our Twitter, go to our Instagram, particularly our Instagram @_spectators. Trying to get all the news out there that we can. Make sure you peep the stories and all that for like a smaller stuff like Bobby Portis getting COVID protocols. Like he might.
Well, we'll show you love, Bobby. If you're listening to this, because I heard you're a fan.
I actually heard that like 80% of the NBA is a fan of the pod, friends of the pod, and you guys should be too. And so if you're not already following us on socials, you definitely should be, because your favorite NBA player loves us. So, you know, it's only right.
It's only right.
Only right. But you got anything else for me this week, Brick? I mean, it's kind of weird. Like, it's hard to talk basketball when like there's things like this kind of going on. But
yeah, the only thing I'll mention from basketball is that we're how many weeks into it? Like 4 weeks, 5 weeks, about 30-ish games, and the Cleveland Cavaliers are
I was literally
gonna
say it. The Cavaliers are actually a good team. They're legitimate. They're actually good.
So
don't talk about LeBron. This is not a LeBron thing. This has nothing to do with him. I've seen a lot of like Twitter's like area talking like, oh, imagine Cleveland with LeBron. If Cleveland had LeBron right now, which I don't even want to put that hypothetical into the world because it's not going to happen. But if this Cleveland team had LeBron, they're the best team in the NBA. I think they're that good already.
Is this Cleveland team like one of the deepest, like including the LeBron ones right now?
What do you mean? Like in terms of Cleveland teams in the past?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's the deepest Cleveland's ever been, but that's not necessarily a good thing because like they were always top heavy for a reason because that top was so good. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how good of a thing that is, but
hey yo,
they are legitimate, and don't sleep now. But Darius Garland, through the same amount of games to start his career, has 40 more made threes than Steph Curry did at this point in his career. And he's 3 years younger than Steph was at this many games played in this point of his career. It's not a direct comparison, but that's kind of the trajectory and the talent that Darius Garland has showed 2 years in. And he's like a rookie sophomore that nobody's talking about. And he's really, really good.
Yeah, I feel like the only talk you ever got about Garland was just the nickname for him and Colin Sexton.
Well,
that was a Sexland.
Well, yeah, they're really good. I mean, obviously Colin's out.
Like that's
and
it.
They're playing pretty well even without Colin. Evan Mobley is the rookie of the year, and I don't think he loses that at any point. Evan Mobley might be defensive player of the year. I think he's that like gifted already. So
I do want to bring this to light. We got some breaking news. Chris Godwin is out for the rest of the year with a torn ACL. So you get a Brook bomb.
Brook bomb. That's tough.
Yeah, that sucks.
He was having a really good year too.
That's a big blow for the Buckies. So
I will say, Chris Godwin maybe had the worst playoffs I've ever seen a wide receiver have last year. So maybe it's not the worst thing in the world. He's really talented and he's really good, but he was making some bonehead drops in the playoffs last year. So
it's tough.
It's certainly tough, but I'm happy you mentioned Cleveland because I certainly was going to because they are looking cute.
I was looking at it the whole talk. I know we weren't going to talk any like teams and stuff, but that just had to be mentioned.
I also want to mention, just throwing this out there, the West is not very good. The Lakers aren't very good. The Clippers aren't very good. The Memphis Grizzlies, they kind of look good. I don't know where it came from. I mean, I know where it came from. I've been saying they're getting better every year. I was just scared that every team in the West was going to just, like, stay above them. Dylan Brooks and John Morant are a nice little duo. That's all I got.
And I love that. That's sick. And then the Suns and Warriors being at the top two is just wild. You love to see it.
We'll probably talk more basketball next week if we don't get shut down on it. I know we haven't talked a whole lot of basketball this season so far, but I like to talk more basketball after the Christmas games anyway, like when games start to actually matter. So we'll definitely get more into that, probably starting next episode and thereafter.
Yeah, because we only got a couple more weeks of the NFL, get into playoff talk, get into basketball, pseudo all-star break coming up talk, and go from there.
But thank you guys for listening. Always go follow us on YouTube if you're not watching it already. Go check us out on all the Spotify, all that, Apple Music, Apple Podcast, all that good stuff. And Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Next week. Peace.